Scholars, welcome back to the Counselor's Office. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor, and we are back to another react. This time we're reacting to a video. Before we do that, though, I just want to say something. It's a marathon video, by the way. Just surprise. By the way, I had reacted to Asmongold's take on Marathon, and a lot of people were, talking about hating on him for some of his takes, but also agreeing with some of his takes. And some people have shared more stories about him and like things that I wasn't aware of about this guy. But I just want you to know, no matter how gross the stories that people have told me, I just want to tell people out there, especially people who like to make fun of me, or how, especially about, the big old belly right here. Even though I've lost 5 pounds, I'm actually losing weight now that I'm back on keto and I'm doing my daily walk. Today I walked an hour before streaming. This guy, if you ever want to know, he has a hot Asian chick in his house. If he can get a girlfriend, or I'm supposing that's his girlfriend, there's hope for everyone. There's hope. You apparently can. Just so you know, there's hope. That's it. That's it. There's hope for you guys. So we got a video by Crayon. I saw a clip, and of course, it was Asked Across reacting. Most of the clips on Marathon I see are just Asked Across clips. Some of them are from the Blue account. I don't think it was him that posted it though. But dang, she's kind of cute. Crayon, nice. Got a look for you. It's crazy to me that this got 220K views, and they only have 399 subscribers. Like, what? Like, I feel like, and it's got 998 likes. Like, what is this bullshit? You guys like the hell out of his video, but y'all don't subscribe to his channel? What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Anyways, we're gonna watch this. Bungie's creative midlife crisis. Let's see what Bungie's... I don't know if he has music on, so I'm gonna pause my music and we're gonna jump in. We're gonna see what... I'm just curious. When you hear a title like Bungie's midlife crisis, creative midlife crisis, woo, buddy. So let's go see. We're gonna see what it's all about.
Full stylized art.
Oh, hold on. That is loud. I'm gonna drop desktop down.
We want that kind of just surprising, dangerous mystery.
Now, guys, that was Christopher Barrett. I understand why he wanted to play Truth or Dare. I get it, Christopher. I get it. I get why you want to. I like redheads too. I get it. But I also don't get being creepy and weird.
Bold, colorful, stylized art.
We want that kind of just surprising, dangerous mystery. We've brought a little bit of groundedness.
Hold on. Sorry about that. I had to edit and fix the sound.
Game feel, where you are blasting stuff in the face and it feels amazing.
We're combining the best of that Bungie touch and feel gameplay, but we're at...
Well, if Christopher Barrett was leading at that time, he's really good at touching and feeling.
That incredible tension and these emotional highs and lows.
You make the best things on the shoulders of giants. And in our case, those giants are Halo and Destiny. The team's been leveraging 30 years of experience and innovation and passion.
It takes all the aspects that
I still believe, even though that people, when it came out, that they gave a list of people that still work at Bungie that worked on worked at Halo. If you looked, we actually researched and look at their positions when they worked at Halo. Most of these were outsourced. They were like low tiered positions. Like when I say that people continue to use from the creators of Halo, it is stolen valor. There is still titans like Jason Jones, Lars, Bakken. These are names that actually were inherently involved, sure. But most of the core people of old Bungie have gone and left. Most of the people that are using the title creators of Halo are just using stolen valor. And it's very, very obvious when you look at the people who worked there who said that they worked on Halo, and you look at their Lincoln and see, oh, you had this you did nothing to really create, manifest this legacy. You were just like that. You're the support character trying to be the main character.
I think Bungie is really good at first-person feel and gunplay. That super deep, crazy sci-fi lore, and it mixes up all those things together in a really amazing PvP package.
That it still feels amazing. It still feels like it has that spark.
That is what we're trying to live up to with Marathon.
Did you tell your team to beware over delivery? Oh shit! What the fuck? That flashbang! Get it off the screen! Fuck!
I get a weird feeling when I watch a titan of the games industry, a studio that has been the architect of some of the industry's golden standards, have what can only be described as a creative midlife crisis. Instead of creating trends,
I want to stop and make my... Okay, maybe I can't zoom in all the way. Yeah, okay, sorry. For those that like it being zoomed in all the way, it's just too much of a flashbang for... I'm not doing it. Just to say something. It wasn't even before... It was before Marathon that Bungie was having a creative midlife crisis. Before they had officially announced Marathon, there was already a crisis forming. And I called this shit years ago. And before me, there was DSR Joker that was calling it out. Like people have been calling this out. This is nothing new. The situation of Marathon coming out this year, this is not a new situation. They've been having a midlife crisis. It's just that people are finally listening. Or sorry, they're not listening. They're seeing the results.
Start chasing them. If I asked you, who's the most influential video game studio, you might say the obvious answers like Nintendo, Naughty Dog, FromSoft, Kojima, Blizzard, and maybe Valve. There is one developer that I think also deserves to be on that list. Bungie.
Yeah, hold on. I'll let him...
Bungie is one of the most influential developers in the space. Starting with Halo Combat Evolved in 2001, the game not only changed the way people control your character by standardizing the dual analog stick layout by moving the aiming controls to the right stick, but also took a sledgehammer to the walk-in closet inventory of games like Doom and Quake by limiting the player to just 2 weapons, a tactical constraint that almost every shooter has followed since. Moving to 2004.
I'm going to stop right now. Halo is my baby. Absolutely love and adore the classic franchise. Grew up with it. Literally no-lifed it. I sweat and balls. Halo 3. Just a legacy. And he's completely correct. Bungie, classic Bungie, set the tone, the standard for first-person shooters. They exploded the genre. Sure, there were other games that were FPSs, like Doom and Return to Castle Wolfenstein. There were, Wolfenstein 3D. There were obviously these games, and then they also had the Marathon, right? The classic Marathon. These aspects were, they're around, but Halo took it to the next level. That he's right, derived, like transformed gaming forever. It's just so sad that if you compare what they did to the past compared to now, Bungie was a trendsetter. Now Bungie is a trend follower.
Halo 2 is bar none the architect and foundation for the online social architecture that gamers take for granted today. No scrolling endlessly through servers to find the one you want and then hoping there's enough space for your friends. In Halo 2, just create a party with your friends and then click find game. Does this sound familiar?
Well, unfortunately, I never got to participate on Halo 2 online. That was my biggest thing, especially of mods. I loved seeing the Halo 2 mod lobbies on YouTube. Man, that shit was great. That was so fucking cool. I never got to participate in it, unfortunately. But Halo 3, we loved those lobbies.
We
found you 4 idiots.
No game up to this point had the cultural movement that Halo had. This game rivaled movie launches. People lined the streets outside game stores to get the game. But Halo 3 changed gaming culture. Logging onto Bungie.net to browse the community file shares, it was a hub for everything the community could come up with for Halo. Infected variants like Fat Kid, bizarre physics maps like Donkey Kong, and of course, Griffball, a game mode reference.
There was another one. That's my ice maker making sounds that threw me off. Yeah, Halo 3 was the culmination of everything. Don't get me wrong, Halo Reach is good too, but Halo 3 is just it was the pinnacle of FPS gaming. No other game will ever reach the same standard that Halo 3 did in its heyday. And it's so sad that most modern gamers will never understand. They will hear the statement and they'll say, you have no idea what you're talking about. And I will rebuttal and say, you don't know what you're talking about because you never got to experience it. You never got to experience watching people line up outside a GameStop, line up the local, whatever for Halo 3. People doing mass, you don't get to experience LAN parties when you have an entire room filled with dorks and nerds and sweaty gamers with their Doritos and Mountain Dew, and everyone has their own screen and their own Xbox, and they're all linked together and they're all having a good old fucking time. There are people that will never experience this ever again, or will never experience it at all. And so when people like me talk about the highlight of gaming and the things that we've experienced, and we compare it to modern gaming now and how dog shit it is, it's not coming because we just want games. We hate games. We're anti-gamers. No, it's because we experience the funnest aspects of video games. We've seen what video games can be and what they can do. And most modern video games, not all of them, there are absolutely some bangers out there and they are popping off. But there's a lot of duds. And unfortunately, instead of learning those lessons, we have people like Bungie that continue to follow trends that no one asked for.
Referencing Red vs. Blue.
Yep. God, I love this series.
But Bungie wasn't just a one-trick pony with Halo. Bungie made Destiny, the holy matrimony of MMOs like World of Warcraft, with that FPS magic that Bungie was known for. And the release of the game was okay.
This should lead us right to the grave. The world's grave, not ours.
I like living.
I mean, the take this game was
Hey, I'm going to say this right now. I like Nolan North, but even as dry as he was, Dinklebot was still a vibe. Dinklebot, listen, I'm upset that he just didn't give a shit about Destiny because he was doing Game of Thrones. But damn, imagine if we still had Dinklebot. Again, I love Nolan North, but Dinklebot would have been a vibe if he stayed around.
10 out of 10. Destiny 2 was a game that was released.
Sacrifice.
It was released
to death. So, feel free to kill yourself.
Wow, and Bungie took that seriously.
Okay, in all seriousness, Destiny 2 offered something that no other game in the industry has offered. And for that, it's special. And the game had its ups and downs, but after the final shape, I stopped playing it, and so did most of the player base. Until in 2026, when Bungie killed development for the game. So when it was rumored that Bungie was reviving an old franchise of theirs, everyone scrambled to figure out what one it would be.
Marathon.
No, it was Marathon. Everyone knew it was Marathon. Okay, so why did I skip this game and start with Halo? Well, so I could spring it on you here, obviously. But was it actually influential? Yes, because it proved shooters could have a brain. Released in 1994, Marathon traded mindless action for environmental storytelling.
I actually do have the classics. Maybe one day we'll do like a marathon stream, like an actual real marathon stream
Battered terminals filled the gaps with a bleak, incredibly detailed narrative about a human colony, an alien invasion force, and the chaotic philosophy of AI rampancy.
I will not allow you to leave this planet!
No, wrong franchise. Shooters around the same time like Doom were focused on the action, the rhythm, and brutality. Marathon was focused on the world and you, playing a security officer.
Yeah, he was a badass.
Games
Apparently.
like Half-Life or Bioshock don't exist without Marathon. The thinking man's shooter, if you will. So Bungie reviving the grandpappy of narrative shooters is exciting. A new, deep, single-player epic to save the studio. Wait, what? No, you're kidding. They made a PvP extraction shooter.
Yeah! Woo! Paradox of polish. Is Marathon actually fun?
That's a bit unfair. To be perfectly clear, the new Marathon is fun. Like a lot of fun. It's also got that Bungie polish that you'd expect. The game feels good. It looks good.
I just want to state something. A lot of people are going to continue to talk about fun. Fun is subjective. And when you're talking about the wider gaming audience, if your only brownie point is that it's the gunplay, I'm going to tell you something that is something that needs to be accepted from the Bungie community. Bungie, when they made Halo, they defined and altered and shaped gaming. They led and innovated. We are now in 2026, and most games are near the same level as Bungie gameplay. When back in the day, gunplay from Bungie was its shining star. I'm not saying that gunplay from Bungie has gotten worse. It's just the rest of the industry has gotten better. So it's no longer the beacon that Bungie is no longer the leaders of FPS. They're no longer the ones that are defining the genre and the industry. They set the trend back when Halo came out, and everyone else followed and is now competing in the same sphere. So every time I hear about, well, Bungie's gunplays, I'm sorry. Most games are either near the level or close enough as Bungie gunplay. Bungie gunplay is no longer magical as it used to be. I'm not saying it's bad or worse. I'm saying everyone else is now competing near the same level. I would say, if I was being brutally honest, I still think that like games like Destiny and their gunplay is still above other first-person shooters, but not by much. And that's a point that's a pill that no one wants to swallow, but you can no longer rest on the laurels of gunplay with Bungie because everyone else is competing. If that wasn't the truth, if that wasn't the case, Marathon would be wildly successful for its gunplay alone. Destiny PvP would be extremely popular because everyone would be playing for the gunplay itself. Yes, gunplay couldn't save Destiny. It couldn't. If it was the best, gunplay in the gaming industry, just like Halo, people would have been flooring through for PvP. Just saying.
I'll touch on that later. Before I spend the rest of the video talking about the negatives, I feel it is important to give credit where it's due. Marathon, Halo, and Destiny, they all have something so intangible that leaves us, the gamers, to conclude that it's Bungie magic. Some wizardry that...
I want to point out that you have 3 games here. 2 of these, when we talk about Bungie magic, it is magical that they made 2 bangers and 1 that's a shit stain in the gaming industry. 2 that people talk about mostly. Well, Destiny, toward the end of its life, people were, pointing as like, okay, look how this IP that people are excited for went down the shitter. And this one is stolen valor for most of modern Bungie. So technically, the only one they have ownership is these 2 right here.
That leaves us, the gamers, to conclude that it's Bungie magic. Some wizardry that us mere mortals can't comprehend. And the new Marathon has remnants of that magic. The gunplay, something that no previous Bungie title has done poorly, is still top-notch in this game.
Again, I'm telling you now, gunplay is not as magical as it used to be for Bungie. The rest of the game market is now competing near the same level Not to say that they have completely overwhelmed Bungie, but I'm saying it's no longer a selling point in the gaming industry that is going to be turning heads. Halo completely got people to like, damn, I need to play this game. Marathon, not so much.
Every gunfight, whether it's against the UESC bots or other runners in PvP, every shot feels crisp, and the feedback you get as the player through the sounds, it activates neurons in a way that a no-scope in Halo does.
I don't know about that, Chief. I don't know about that.
The movement feels good, almost second nature. You can't deny the game's art is unique. Like, it's not sexy.
I disagree on the movement unless you're playing that frame that grapples. The movement it is killed by the simple fact that the heat system sucks dick. I will never understand why they put a fucking heat system that you spend 3 minutes having to recharge. It's so ass.
But it's unique, in a good way. The art design, it's almost a mix of the environment of Mirror's Edge with Destiny. A clash of clean, solid color, blocky look of runners and weapons.
Yeah, it's a clash of Roblox and... yeah, just Roblox. When like, I don't know. Like, again, people like this, but I'm going to tell you, most people do not like the aesthetics of this game. Now, let's be honest. If this had the aesthetics of the classic Marathon, would people be more open to playing this game? I do think there would be a percentage that would be more open, because if you cannot enjoy the look of something, even if the gameplay is good, there are going to be people that are saying, no, I'm not touching this. And I don't mean like graphically, because people play old games all the time. It just, if it doesn't look appealing to stare at, it's like no one wants to eat a cake that looks like an actual pile of shit. You're going to be grossed out, even though it probably tastes really fucking good. If it looks like shit, you're not going to touch it.
And the UESC infrastructure. I mean, look at it. It's like Lego. And all of that blockiness and cleanliness clashes with the natural environment of Tau 74 to create a unique environment that immerses you in.
I don't know if the Lego point was to make like, oh, look at it, Legos. Yeah, because that's really what people want in a first-person shooter.
To an interesting world similar to the original.
Is it similar? I've heard other people say, no, it's not.
Unfortunately, here comes the problems. It's missing something. If we look at other games in this genre, they have something that Marathon is just missing. But this is where I'm about to lose credibility.
It's fun, enjoyable, actually gives the players what they want. I can keep going.
I still don't know what it is. Like, okay, let me explain before you click off. If you aren't familiar with the extraction genre, it's an offshoot of the battle royale genre where you and an arbitrary amount of players are plopped onto a map. But unlike
I like that we're talking about Tarkov now.
Extraction shooters usually have you doing some quest on the map or finding loot and getting out of the map alive with you and your newfound trinkets. You can avoid everyone and try and hide, or you can bring in your best gear and try and destroy everything that moves. The caveat is that anything you die with, you lose forever. This genre of game was popularized by the game Escape from Tarkov.
Yeah,
but Tarkov
baby.
was a bit too hardcore for a lot of gamers, as it was intended to be a realistic military simulator in the same breath as Arma or Squad.
Hey, so how's the war going for you guys?
I can't wait to go back home and see my mom.
If I compare Marathon with Tarkov trying to be more realistic
that's funny.
has the problem of accessibility. Take something simple like player movement. Marathon has that Bungie magic of being able to control your runner with relative ease, making it so that you can experience the game with little friction.
Again, I don't agree with this statement that this magic is ignoring so many other games that are doing the same fucking thing. And I can't tell if it's because people do not play more than one game. And I think to a certain degree that is the case, that if certain people only consume Bungie product and they very rarely actually play other games. Like, I hate this Bungie magic. It's not magic anymore. Sorry, Harry, you're not a wizard. Everyone else is now competing with you.
Tarkov is the other end of that spectrum. Let me be clear about what realistic movement is in Tarkov. The first couple of raids, controlling your PMC is like a fawn trying to walk for the first time. Your PMC walks like he's too drunk to tell the officer that he's not drive drunking.
What the fuck?
Taking a look at the history of the extraction genre, Marathon isn't the first, second, or even third game to attempt this genre. If we skip over survival games like DayZ, the first attempt at this genre was in 2016 with The Division. I know. It
Yep.
shocked me too when I found this out.
The Dark
Then
Zone.
Tarkov shortly after. Then Hunt Showdown, the Cycle Frontier. At this point, the AAA devs caught on, and EA thought Battlefield needed one. Marauders, COD Warzone DMZ, Dark and Darker. That one was unique. Gray Zone Warfare, Arena Breakout Infinite, Level 0 Extraction.
Which, by the way, I don't know about both of these. I think are pretty successful. I believe I want to say it's Gray Zone that had like 100,000 players. Like, yeah, very successful.
And Delta Force, Arc Raiders.
Oh, Delta Force. That's the one. Delta Force.
Marathon. So, needless to say, the genre is pretty saturated. Some of these games are unique, others are just derivatives of the previous games. Arena Breakout is very derivative of Tarkov. A lot of these games are just other developers attempting at doing the realistic military extraction shooter that Tarkov already did. But games like Hunt, Dark and Darker, Arc Raiders are very unique. And you might be saying, that's great, but what does any of these games have to do with Marathon? Well, all of these games can be further broken down into subgenres, or themes, and each of these subgenres have a de facto king. Tarkov is the hardcore military extraction shooter.
Yep.
For sci-fi, it seems that Arc Raiders has monopolized not only the sci-fi
Yep.
genre, but also as the everyman's extraction shooter.
Yep.
To fully beat this to death, Tarkov is for the unemployed going through their third divorce after losing yet another custody battle, and Arc Raiders is for everyone else.
Yep.
So
There you
where
go.
does Marathon fit in? Well, as I said earlier, Marathon's controls are more accessible than Tarkov, so it's closer to Arc Raiders. Sort of. Because the extraction genre has some similarities.
Which is wild because people like to try to say, I loved when people were trying to compare this to Tarkov and they said, Tarkov is for babies. I'm sorry, you what?
To battle royales, I feel like I can use those games to explain what's going on here. Tarkov is similar to PUBG, the military game where gunplay is the main focus. Arc Raiders is Fortnite, the more accessible noob-friendly game.
Yep.
So that would make Marathon Apex Legends. Both are sci-fi, both mix hero shooter abilities with their respective genres.
Yeah, and that's where the
why
problem
does Apex
is.
Legends work, but Marathon doesn't. It worked because Apex Legends.
It works because it doesn't look like Roblox and the environment doesn't look like dog shit. And the characters don't look like dog shit.
Knows what it is. A hero-based battle royale capturing the hero shooter and the battle royale audience. Marathon is an extraction shooter trying to capture the Destiny audience, the hardcore extraction audience.
Trying to be the
and hero
everything.
shooter audience, where the extraction shooter audience is looking for an experience completely different from the other two. This audience split is emblematic of the game's identity crisis.
Warning. Dog shit found. The apex problem. Genre conflict in Marathon. Durandal, at the moment of abstraction, when the man was imagining his life and his existence as a metaphor of the three candles, he was free.
As should be assumed at this point, the movement in gunplay in Marathon is phenomenal. Top notch. Even the abilities feel second nature. Oh, wrong. Yep, fair enough. Okay, that's the wrong clip. I'm just bad. Marathon borrowed a lot more from Apex than just having hero abilities. It also sometimes straight up copied Legends abilities. The Recon Shell has a scan ability similar to Bloodhound and Apex.
Yep.
Triage is the team medic similar to Lifeline.
Yep.
Now, I want to make this clear. Just because something works for another game doesn't mean it will work for yours.
Yep.
Apex is a battle royale. The core goal of the game, even if you hide for 99% of the map.
Which is very important because you got to stop to think before they launch. They made dramatic changes. The alpha they revealed that was going to launch, so many more aspects were focused on like Apex Legends style gameplay. Like revives are almost instant. Like you constantly were reviving. It was insane. Also, it's fun. Just a fun note, just to remind you guys, Bungie put legal aim hack in the game. Like you toggle aim assist, and that was an argument that Bungie said you can just turn it off. You could just toggle off the aim assist if you and it was just the people were just showing like they were shooting into smoke and it was automatically shooting people. Like what's the point of the smoke?
Match is to fight and kill the last squad, meaning that combat is at the core goal of the game. To win, you have to kill. In extraction shooter, the core goal of the game is not to kill to win. It is to complete quests and to extract. And unless you're doing a quest that requires PvP, not running into another player while getting to the loot is optimal. That is sort of a problem. Apex has designed its Legends abilities around this idea of always looking for a fight, but you don't always want to fight in an extraction shooter. When the mechanical core of your game is at odds with the optimal strategy of your genre, that's an identity crisis. But Marathon wasn't designed as a solo experience. Using the Apex Legends comparison again, the two games are similar in more than just the characters. They both have a max squad size of 3, and playing this game in a squad changes Marathon's experience entirely.
It does.
We found him. Yep, right here.
I will say it does. And unironically, I'm going to add something. As someone who's played multiple times this game, the alpha, the beta, and the free week for season 2, I'll tell you right now, if you want to play Marathon at its hardest, play solo. You will be taking a baseball bat to your balls, because the game was made specifically for trios, not solo. So the ability to have your friends revive you, even if you completely die, you can get revived as if nothing happened. You don't get that privilege in solo. And you will get dicked on by everything. So in that regard, Marathon is more hardcore when you play solo.
Right up top. These guys are gonna drop all of it.
Down. Back one. Down one. Push.
The knife is so strong, man.
One down. Low down. Nice air. On peg. Back one. Down him. Eat that one, asshole. That grenade is for you.
Yeah, man, that's fucked up. Rest his boy. Yeah, we have the other body.
Boy's dead again.
Nice.
Squads is where Marathon thrives. When I played
Yep,
this game
pretty much.
solo, all of my critiques of the gameplay had come from the perspective of solo player. In an extraction shooter or any game like it, such as Battle Royales, when alone, you always want to be the one in control of the engagements. When you are caught out in the open, your survival boils down to your ability to get to cover and reset the encounter, or if your opponent can't aim.
Oh my god, the potato.
It's time to retire. Unfortunately, I'm not always going to be the one shooting at you. I'm not saying that the solo experience is necessarily bad. What I am saying that is if you ask two people to describe Marathon to you, one who played only solo and one who played only squads, you would get two completely different descriptions of the game. And it is evident by not only the game's design, but also in its endgame content that Bungie intends for you to play this game with friends.
Yep.
For those of you that don't know, Marathon's endgame is a map called Cryo Archive. Cryo Archive is Marathon's vision manifested.
It's going to test every aspect of the survival game. Probably going to be forced to run to players in ways you haven't been on other maps.
Cryo Archive has the game's highest level of
Which
loot.
don't worry, because now Bungie realizes that they desperately need PvE, so you'll be able to pay $40 for one event. Yay.
Meaning a successful run nets you gold level loot. That high level loot is locked behind vaults that require rare keys to open. And because it has a high level of loot, people come in with their best gear. That means that PvP in Cryo is Bungie's gameplay mechanics pushed to its limits. There's also a boss called the Compiler that appeases the Destiny crowd. To top it all off, the map
Which is
only
very
open to the player
funny.
base on weekends starting on Thursday. Which I think is a good idea, as it gives you a week to get new loadouts and gear to lose again in Cryo.
I don't.
There is one caveat to all this though. Cryo Archive is not.
I generally think it's a stupid idea because literally if you look at Tarkov, they have their hardcore map, which is labs. And as long as you have the key by playing the game, there's always people to play against. And so I just disagree.
Open to solo players. You are forced into squads to play the endgame content. This directly says everything. Marathon is an extraction shooter balanced around squads and intended to be played in squads. Bungie's vision for Marathon's gameplay is squads and not solo. But then why offer solo in the first place? Well, that's simple, because other extraction shooters offer a solo experience. Solo is intrinsic to an extraction shooter's identity.
They put solo in response to the desperation of having other people play their game, even though they fought everyone, including creators, tooth and nail, to not add solo and or like proximity chat. Like, these are aspects that should be in the game, but the developers know better. Again, when you look back, they weren't making a game for anyone other than to trend chase, and they didn't care about all the details that are necessary to make a good game.
But not Marathons. Look, I know I've been beating the solos versus squads drum for a while now, but stick with me, because it perfectly illustrates what Bungie pulled off here. They made Apex Legends into an extraction shooter, and it somehow works. That's not nothing. Marathon,
I don't know about that.
The way Bungie obviously intended it to be is an amazing.
I would say that that's subjective. It works. Well, not necessarily. It works based on your opinion, but if you were to ask the overall gaming audience based on popularity, sales, and success, I would say it did not work. Again, I hate this argument that, oh, because I say it's true. No, you look at the data. Majority throughout history has always determined whether something is factual or not. In fact, that's the whole point of case studies. And even in science, data is the king. And when you look at the higher rating, that is what becomes fact. And the fact is, Marathon is not succeeding. You think it does, and that's fine for you in your bubble. But when you look at the grand picture, it's not a success. It has failed to do what was necessary.
An experience that still captures that Bungie magic. But what it isn't is Bungie pioneering a genre.
I'm going to tell you right now, they did not pioneer anything with Marathon. End of an era.
As I played Marathon, I could tell that Bungie magic was still there. The gunplay crisp, the movement is fluid, and the world is immersive. All of the maps have their own theme that distinguishes them from one another while still undeniably being from the same universe in looks and feel. At launch,
they're just too damn small.
Marsh, Outpost, and Cryo Archive, all maps that each bring a
Except
different environment for you
Cryo.
to die in. And Cryo Archive is especially cool in fulfilling Bungie's vision because that map is set on the Marathon ship. You know, the name of the game. That, however, is the undeniable reality that Bungie as a pioneer of the video game industry is in its twilight years. If I showed this game to you with all its branding removed and you didn't know what it was, how many guesses do you think it would take for you to guess Marathon? 6? Maybe 7?
20. It would take 200. And here's the funny thing. If you were to show people gameplay of this, would you be able to know, like, say who made this? You would probably think it was an indie game. There's no way anyone would say, that looks like a Bungie game.
Nothing in this game that on the face screams Marathon.
Or Bungie.
Home, look at a game like Wolfenstein and Doom. These games had reboots or sequels or whatever we're calling them years after their initial 90s shooter era success. But these games look like they belong to their franchises.
Yep.
Just modern interpretations of the themes now in HD. But Marathon, it doesn't look like its 90s counterpart.
No.
Bungie didn't make Marathon an extraction shooter because the IP demanded it or needed it. They needed an IP to...
The modern Marathon looks like it looks like Apex and Roblox had sex with a with a clown
to sell a trend, and Marathon was the tarp they threw over it. When an industry titan is using an old IP to package a trend, that constitutes a dissonance in game identity. But Bungie is still Bungie. They didn't release a bad game. The game's art style is phenomenal, even if it was stolen. Extracting from a raid with loot releases.
You lost me, then you made a funny, but I think the art is still subjective. And again, going back to my point, the majority decides, and the majority mostly doesn't like the art style.
This is dopamine that keeps me gambling my kits at the chance for more loot. Marathon is not even a mediocre game. Marathon is, dare I say, a great game. And I hate having to keep saying
subjective.
It's true. But Marathon is not a pioneer in its respective genre like Bungie titles before. It didn't innovate. It amalgamated ideas from two different games to create a fun and polished experience. If I were to describe Marathon,
that's also subjective. By the way, I think polished, like it didn't have bugs, but the fact that they're having to continue to change the game, I don't think it's polished in the way that is considered a successful game. It's not buggy like other games, but it's definitely not polished in the fact that the game is able to carry itself. It should be early access.
Apex Legends, but an extraction shooter. There's nothing in the game mechanics-wise that makes me go, yeah, that idea is fantastic. I hope other developers copy that. For example, everything the runners bring to the table with its abilities have been done before by Apex Legends, and even titles like Valorant. Cryo Archive as the endgame loot map is no different in its functionality to maps like Labs in Tarkov.
Thank
Those
you!
maps are high-risk, high-reward maps where everyone is bringing their best loadouts to try and get all the high-value loot. And even the compiler, the boss from Cryo Archive, it looks like an in-between of a strike boss and a raid boss from Destiny.
Yep.
Which isn't necessarily bad, but it's not a new idea.
No,
I
it's
say
not.
This game has an identity crisis, not because it's bad, but because for Bungie to release a game in what is now a saturated market, it needed to stand out with more than just the title.
Also, I'm going to say this. The compiler is not, now that it's been a while, the compiler is not exciting as people made it out to be. The compiler fight is like a shittier strike boss. There's strike bosses in Destiny 2 that are more exciting than the compiler. There, I said it. Suck it.
Marathon. It is competing with Arc Raiders, Tarkov, Destiny, Apex Legends, as Marathon offers
Also, I would like to say, even though I don't necessarily care about Arc Raiders, the fights with the big-ass robots are far more exciting than the compiler.
these player bases. However, being an amalgamation doesn't have to be a death sentence. For the players who hope for the best of Marathon, I wanted to bring up a game that, although not from the same pedigree as Bungie, was able to make a game that was also an amalgamation of multiple games and succeeded. Let's go back to the year of 2015. Ubisoft just released a game that was unfinished, and it had left longtime fans of the...
I hate this. I'm already going to say L to this. I hate this argument, and I'm going to show you why. This is not, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is not the company you want to use as an example. Using Rainbow Six as an example is not the win or the good argument that you think it is. Also, considering Ubisoft works with Tencent, Ubisoft and Tencent work together through a strategic partnership, most notably forming a dedicated French subsidiary called Vantage Studios. Tencent invested 1.16 billion for a economic interest. Owner of the division and control of the division. Yeah, and guess what? The ones that Tencent got access to, guess what? Rainbow Six. Wow, isn't it crazy that someone invested, a different company had to save Ubisoft and invest and make an entirely different subsidiary? And that one that's being used as an excuse to compare for Marathon, that is its ass is being saved by Tencent. So I don't know if I would ever actually use, Rainbow Six or Ubisoft ever as an example to defend Marathon.
Franchise confused. I know, crazy. However, Siege is now considered one of the healthier live service games. Now, just like Marathon...
Also, another point to point out, specifically for this video, Ubisoft has multiple IPs that they can lean on to help fund their company. Bungie doesn't. They only have Marathon now. They don't have the luxury that Ubisoft does to make games that flop and then have, others that they can fix. Bungie does not.
Marathon, I can describe Siege using other games. Rainbow Six Siege is Counter-Strike mixed with Team Fortress 2 and a sprinkle of Call of Duty. Siege was a departure from previous Rainbow Six titles. Rainbow Six historically was a tactical narrative-based shooter based off Tom.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Also, something that's massive is Rainbow Six Siege is still within the lines of what Rainbow Six Siege has always been, a tactical FPS. Even though it's an not extraction shooter, but like a defensive fight kind of bomb related game, it still maintains the spirit of what Rainbow Six Siege has always been. Military, FPS, got some realism in it. Marathon did not retain any of its classics. The classical feeling, the vibe, even the narrative, like they try to make it connect. It did not manage to maintain this. And so this argument's already being debunked. This argument, the comparison, is already a fallacy because it shows what Marathon should have done. If Marathon had followed the same pattern as Rainbow Six, then it might have been able to continue and might be able to be successful, but it did not. Even its art design is a departure from the original.
Clancy's books of the same name. Siege, like Marathon, used nostalgia to release a game that had nothing to do with, other than in name, the franchise it was named after. When Siege launched, it was not met with high praise. And I've been holding out on mentioning this until now, but Siege's player count was not stellar at launch, neither is Marathon's. But, and it's a big but, Siege hit its first big player spike 3 years after release in 2018, then broke that peak in 2020, then in 2021, and then again in 2024. These are just Steam numbers, so are...
Let's cook for a minute. I want you to look at something. They were able to make some peaks for Destiny. And by the way, I know that population charts. I'm looking for popularity. Where the hell? Oh, there it is. Popularity report. It's here. We're looking at the official. This shows console. Here you go. Here's the picture of Destiny right there for you. Right there. Tell me. Comparing this to another Bungie IP. Have they ever reached the peak of launch? No. So is there ever, comparing this to their own other IP that's also a live service game, I doubt they can do it.
Arguably, the game was even healthier than I can see with Uplay numbers and console numbers adding on to that. Siege on release was a good to okay game, but it did need a little bit of help to get better. So the Siege developers decided to have Operation Health, an event in Siege which was solely designed at fixing the game. A 3-month period of where no new content was dropped and every update was focused on game bugs, server upgrades.
That's crazy because that's technically what's happening to Marathon right now. It's already on Operation Health Watch because their season 2, they didn't release anything new at all. All they did was release a new character, made a couple buffs and changes, and then took one of their current maps and made it dark. Next season, in the mid-season update, you're getting a map that already exists, except you get to just do PvE on it. Wow. That's exactly the same thing as completely changing, and fixing aspects of the game. It's exact same thing. It's not. Season 3 might be a little different. We'll see how that plays out. But again, I think it's a fallacy, and it's pure desperation to compare this to Rainbow Six Siege. Complete desperation.
And game stability. Then in 2018, they launched Operation Chimera, which sparked the first player base spike. Chimera was when Siege added a limited time PvE zombie mode. This mode was fun. So successful that Ubisoft released that mode in Rainbow Six Siege Extraction as a standalone.
As an event.
Which didn't do that well, but don't worry about that.
Yeah, the game was ass.
What's in the canister? I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Just ignore that game and pay attention to Operation Chimera.
Yeah.
Nothing in Siege's core gameplay changed drastically in the 3 years it took to hit its first peak. And I think for Marathon, the same idea applies. The core of the game is solid. Bungie just has to figure out what Marathon needs to succeed the way Siege did.
Yeah, but here's an immediate, again, another point to argue this fallacy. The fallacy that's being made here is that Marathon is having to completely change itself, including changing its genre, whereas Rainbow Six Siege has fundamentally stayed the same at its base and what you're trying to do and accomplish. The core of the game is not changing, whereas Marathon is completely altering itself.
I hope that I can look back at this video in a few years and see that I was right about Marathon being able to revive itself the way Siege did. But I can't help but notice the writing on the wall for Bungie. They went from an industry titan, an unstoppable force where every release created a blueprint for other developers to copy. Maybe I'm biased, but Halo will forever be one of, if not my all-time favorite franchises, ever.
By the way, this take is completely fine. There's nothing wrong with Halo. It's just the reality is the people that made that are not at Bungie anymore. And the ones that aren't the ones that actually made an impact to the game.
Destiny alike has created memories with my friends that are valuable to me as a person today. I'm not old enough to have experienced the original Marathon, but I imagine for those who owned a Macintosh in 1994, it was a unique experience like no other. Bungie didn't just create games. Bungie titles were pivotal moments in gaming, as we would be on the edge of our seat waiting to see what fire of knowledge Bungie would bestow upon us mere mortals. I remember coming home from school and playing custom games on Halo 3 and Reach with my friends, or not studying and doing my schoolwork because Iron Banner was on in Destiny 2. I hope I'm wrong. But to me, it looks like Bungie is in its twilight years. And Marathon feels like
agree.
That. Marathon is a good game that still captures that waning
subjective
magic, but it's not a game that continues the legacy of Bungie as an industry pioneer.
All right. Overall, there was a lot that I did not agree. I really didn't agree from him, but this was a well thought and developed video. A lot of it I did agree with. And again, it's all subjective. Like whether you like Marathon, you don't like it, you like the art, you don't like the art. I base my position is backed by the data of the masses. And I'm going to say this right now. I like Halo 4, and the data from the masses says that Halo 4 was a failure. It wasn't good, and people don't like it. And that's fair. I'm not going to convince anyone otherwise. I'm just going to enjoy Halo 4 for what I enjoy it as. I know I'm the minority, and that's fine. But again, I don't think that Bungie can or will turn the ship around. I just don't. And that's not me hoping for their downfall. Actually, let's take it back. I actually do want the downfall. Like, fuck it. You killed Destiny. You relayed off some great talent. Fuck it. I have nothing left to hold on to the studio. They can lose their job. I don't care. That makes me an asshole. Well, welcome to consumerism, because it's a privilege to have your job. It's not a right. You know, you sunk the ship that I was riding on and enjoying. Your ship can sink too. Fuck it. Concord prophecy must be fulfilled. That one guy. I would love to see Marathon actually turn things around. I want to be proven wrong. The Bungie community is what's going to kill Bungie, in my opinion. No. Like, don't get me wrong. I think the Marathon community absolutely will help kill, but Bungie's already killed any potential for people to come and give it a shot. Sony also has helped with that, by the way. Sony, the disrespect that Sony has shown to the Destiny community and the Bungie community has turned a lot of people against them. And so a lot of people want Marathon to fail, not even necessarily to spite Bungie, but to spite Sony. So I don't think that the Bungie community, I think it's just the gaming industry is against the current Bungie and Sony at this point. And maybe it's to some regard, that's where I'm at too. It's less about the Marathon needing to fail. It's more of a fuck you, I hope you eat shit, Sony and Bungie leaders. You get what you deserve. Yes, you get what you deserve. Bungie is what killed Bungie. The community is a problem, but it's a different problem. Exactly. It's funny. We've seen Destiny killers, and the only thing that killed Destiny was Bungie. And Bungie will kill Bungie. And it has been killing Bungie. The leaders of Bungie have been killing Bungie. Anyways, I'm Mr. Game Counselor. A long form video for your faces. Hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to go ahead and give this a like. May not agree with everything, but I will give it a like because it was a well-developed video. A lot of time, you could tell time went into it, and I like it. It's pretty nice. So anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. The link to the video will be down below if you want to give it a like yourself, and or if you want to subscribe to the channel for them. Link will be down below. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Huzzah!